Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Hobart begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, with week-long waits to see a GP, support for services helping vulnerable Tasmanians has been extended. The move is aimed at reducing pressure on emergency departments, while a sweet offer extended to overworked nurses has left a bitter taste.
A boost to frontline health services for those most in need. More state government grants available for community organisations to conduct free after-hours clinics.
To, in partnership with GPs, support vulnerable people such as people experiencing homelessness.
Particularly with this cohort, their access to GPs and the primary health services can be very difficult.
Overflowing books are currently limiting access to GPs, while reduced bulk billing adds a cost pressure that many can't bear.
Greater access to GPs and primary health services is one way that we can alleviate the pressure off our emergency departments.
This is a desperate situation in our hospitals. That's where the money needs to go.
This morning, nurses at the Royal Hobart Hospital were offered coffee and Cadbury chocolate blocks as a thank you. Having recently campaigned for wage rises, the union says members were broadly disappointed by the offer, with the perception that it's in response to industrial action.
Whether there were good intentions or not, it just demonstrates how out of touch they are with the pressures facing our health system and the exhaustion that our nurses are under.
Royal Hobart Hospital Chief Executive Susan Gannon said it was to show appreciation and boost morale, and many staff have expressed their gratitude in response. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's daily COVID numbers remain steady, with 661 new infections recorded today. But sadly, another Tasmanian has died from the virus. The latest life claimed takes the death toll to 161. There are now 2 patients receiving treatment in ICU. From the end of this month, state-run vaccination clinics will close in Tasmania. 85% of COVID and flu jabs are currently being administered through GPs and pharmacies. Staff will be deployed to other tasks, but the Department of Health says there will be capacity to provide pop-up clinics if needed in the future. After 16 delays to hearings, evidence is finally being heard in the 2018 case of the deaths of 16 polo ponies on the Spirit of Tasmania. TT Line is facing 29 charges under the Animal Welfare Act.
The first witness taking to the stand 4 days into the hearing. Biosecurity Tasmania's lead investigator Russell Hunter giving evidence. Asked if it was a significant omission in his investigation that he failed to measure a part of the trailer by TT Line's lawyer. He conceded but argued it was not significant. The 2 main elements of the allegation are based around TT Line failing to inspect the horses were individually stalled and if the trailer was adequately ventilated. A close acquaintance of the polo pony's owner also gave evidence. Justin Cooper told the court he'd helped modify the truck used to transport the horses, saying it had been used 3 to 4 times a week and that there'd never been any issues. Modifications were based on a standard horse float but double in size, effectively giving the horses individual ventilation, saying often the horses would be covered in dust when travelling on a dirt road, giving them confidence that they were okay. He said the horses had travelled in the truck on the Spirit at least 10 times before and were never individually stalled, adding the horses would top and tail for weight distribution and so they wouldn't bite each other, with 2 horses per stall. Mr Cooper said when modifying the truck he could not find regulations about stalls required and was not aware that horses had to be individually stalled on the Spirit. The hearing continues tomorrow. Talia Jordan, 7 Tasmania News.
A second sunken tugboat has been lifted out of the Mersey River tonight for good. It will be placed on the retrieval ship in a couple of hours. After 8 months underwater and a recovery mission nearly a week long, the tugs have finally been salvaged after being hit by a cement carrier. They will be transported to Brisbane for wrecking. The departure date for the retrieval ship is yet to be confirmed. The vote on Tasmania's AFL bid could slip past the August deadline as deliberation over a new stadium drags on. The state government insists its proposal hasn't changed, even though more details are being fleshed out.
A stadium which stole the spotlight a little too well, now becoming a curveball for the bid itself.
Gil McLachlan believes that he will have enough information to give to the clubs by the end of this month.
Pushing back the long-touted deadline for clubs to make their call, the stadium being the sticking point.
Where, how much, what it looks like, etc. But that will hit the clubs probably by the last week of August.
The government maintains what it's putting to the clubs to vote on is $150 million over 10 years in return for a team, the stadium being separate and a matter for the government and AFL. But none of this is helping to lock in a date for the final vote.
The information that I have, of course, is that sooner rather than later that we will hear from the AFL in terms of the success or otherwise of our bid.
But the government hasn't heard from any club presidents taking up its offer for a tour of the state since Tasmania launched its bid. Instead, the Premier has a message for them, loud and clear.
Lift your eyes above the horizon, see the bigger picture, and just don't focus on your own self-interest.
As all interests jostle over what's best for Tasmania and the league itself. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Traffic was interrupted this morning after a car and bus collided near the Hobart CBD. It happened at the intersection of Warwick and Elizabeth Streets at about 9:30. The front passenger of the Toyota four-wheel drive was transported to the Royal Hobart Hospital, sustaining minor injuries. Police believe inattention and a failure to give way were contributing factors, but investigations are ongoing. An experienced truck driver has escaped with minor injuries after his truck rolled at least once in the state's northwest this morning. Emergency services were called to the Paradise Road scene at around 8 o'clock. It's understood the truck slipped a gear while navigating a tight corner. Traffic was affected, with the road reopened at around 11. Tasmania's first dedicated highway patrol vehicles are helping drive a new future for the force. The new convoy will see road resources bolstered as part of the state's solution to crack down on dangerous behaviour.
Shaping up and taking control of the state's highest road toll in the last decade.
When police have to notify next of kin that one of their loved one has died, or been in a serious crash, is one of the hardest things you can possibly do.
Behind the wheel of these high-powered and highly visible vehicles, officers are ready to nab anyone defying the law.
I often hear that is it our tourists, and no, it's not. It's our locals. It's our locals that are dying on the road because perhaps they're a little complacent.
The unveiling marks a new chapter for Tasmania Police, adding highway patrol marked cars to its arsenal for the first time.
When vehicles are detected travelling high speed and generally the opposite direction, these vehicles have the acceleration and the ability to catch those vehicles in a much shorter time frame.
Complemented by cutting-edge technology, drones are the hidden eye in the sky.
For dangerous drivers, it sends a strong message that you will be caught.
This new fleet is already out conducting traffic enforcement on major roads, specifically designed for high-speed interception.
Seatbelts, speeding, inattention, drink and drug driving and fatigue are killing people on our roads.
But the frontline can't fix the problem alone.
Road safety is everyone's responsibility.
Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
And the new road policing service is already making an impact across the state, with a number of drivers caught during a traffic operation. Our reporter Grace Evans is live in Hobart for us. Good evening, Grace. Police say they are fed up with the poor behaviour.
They certainly are, Louise. Last night, Tasmania Police made their presence known here on Mellifont Street as part of their Enough is Enough strategy. 4 people were caught doing the wrong thing behind the wheel. 2 of those allegedly detected with illegal drugs in their system. And in a separate incident, police were forced to seize a vehicle. It's left them to again reissue that plea to the community to hear their message, warning drivers that they will be caught if they continue to break the road rules. Louise?
Hobart Airport management say a facelift is crucial for the facility to keep up with the projected doubling of traffic. CEO Norris Carter unveiled the airport's 20-year master plan today, which includes a larger terminal, saying the starting point for design is passenger experience.
Speed and ease, so they want to get through from basically the highway to the runway or vice versa as quickly and smoothly as they can.
The airport says it won't require federal or state funding for the upgrades which were announced today, which are expected to start in the next 2 to 4 years. An Eastern Shore native will stand for the Greens in the Pembroke by-election. Dr Deborah Brewer is a TAFE worker who educates community service workers in child protection, housing and family violence service.
But I think the Legislative Council needs a Green voice and a Green lens on all legislation.
Dr Brewer stood for the Greens 3 years ago in the Legislative Council seat of Nelson. Special armbands will be worn by players in this round of NTFA action in solidarity with anti-domestic violence efforts. The Say No to Violence armbands will appear on all male and female players across the league, including Police Constable Luke Murfitt-Cohen, who plays for Longford.
Domestic violence is very prevalent in our society, probably more than people realise.
For us to be able to support such a cause up here on Saturday and across all competition is huge.
The league is aiming to raise $10,000 for Launceston's women's shelter, Magnolia Place. Tasmania's wildlife rehabilitation sector has been given a new lease on life thanks to the formation of a 2-year strategy. The community-led action plan was developed over the past year and aims to create a more sustainable and well-supported sector into the future. It was launched today at Bonorong Wildlife Sanctuary. Its rescue service receives around 14,000 calls for help with injured or orphaned wildlife every year. Tasmania's female presence in the trade force has dropped by more than 50% in recent years. The 6th annual Fearless Festival at Rest Point striving to fill the gap and break down gender barriers.
These young and bright-minded women learning the tricks of the trades at this year's Fearless Festival.
Despite where we are today, there is still a stigma about young women joining trades, and that's what this is about, trying to break that.
Female professionals from male-dominated fields like science and engineering were demonstrating to students how their dreams are possible.
It's very inspiring and helpful, and it proves that women can do these things.
Whale rescue techniques, crane mechanics and rocket building, just a few of the activities on offer.
3, 2, 1.
According to the Australian Manufacturing Workers Union, less than 2% of Tasmania's trades industry is made up by women.
Currently in Australia, less than 13% of degree qualified engineers are female, so we do have a lack of females in engineering.
There are a lot of employers now that are focusing on employing young women, but still too many that are not, unfortunately.
The union shutting down outdated stereotypes one woman at a time, with another event taking place tomorrow. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Mystery mail has appeared in Launceston coach Mitch Thorpe's letterbox, the back page of the Mercury declaring Kingborough's charge towards the title with the words "Beware, we are coming" scribbled around Marcus Gardner. Thorpe rejects conspiracy theories that he sent the mail to himself to pump up his players, suggesting the man in the photo might be to blame.
Big Marcus has taken on the enforcer role at the Tigers and decided he was happy with some of his own work and sent a clip up of himself.
He's got better things to do with his time than go down to the post office, cut out the newspaper and put it in an envelope and send it up the highway.
Regardless, the clash is also Launceston's pink round, plus a dress rehearsal for the qualifying final and quite possibly the grand final. At the Diamond League, Stuart McMahon returned to the track after pulling out of the Commonwealth Games when he came down with the flu. He couldn't keep up with the fast pace, finishing the 3,000 metres outside the top 10. Hopefully he picks himself back up soon.
Good evening. Hobart 13 today, Launceston 15, Burnie and Devonport tops of 12. Flinders Island recorded 17 to top the charts today, while at the other end it was Butler's Gorge with our low of -3. St Helens, Friendly Beaches and Strawn 15, King Island 13, Smithton, Lowhead and Grove 12, Bushy Park 8 and Lyawini 6. Took a bit of a while before the rain started today, but plenty of clouds started to drift over the north and northwest of Tasmania, a layer of lower cloud over the north and west as well. Plenty of cloud stretching from the far northwest of the country all the way to our region. Cloud also spirals around the low over the Bight. Tomorrow the low weakens as a trough remains over Tasmania. A high builds to the west with troughs further north. Winds will tend more east-northeasterly as the day progresses, sitting at 10 to 20 knots over the west with a 2-metre swell. Hobart, a possible shower, 14 the high tomorrow. Shower or two for Huonville, 15 the top, 15 for Campania as well. Launceston, showery, 15, 14 for Devonport. Georgetown, a shower or two, 14 as well. Burnie tomorrow, a shower or two and 13 degrees, 15 the top for Strawn. Wynyard, 13, showers over the northwest. St Helens, partly cloudy, 15, 15 the top for Swansea, a shower or two for Port Arthur and 14. But of course more rain heading to the east as the next couple of days progress. Saturday, showers over the east, far south and Bass Strait Islands, mainly fine elsewhere. Heavy falls expected over the east and south, showers elsewhere across the state as well on Sunday. And on Monday, showers again more frequent over the east, so plenty on the way there. A sunny 21 in Perth tomorrow, showers in Adelaide and Melbourne. Wet weather, it's on the way for Canberra and Sydney. A partly cloudy day in Brisbane and 21. Bit cloudy over Hobart, it's 10 at the moment. Raining in Launceston, also in Devonport. And I don't believe you did it, Lou. You are wearing black and white tonight. It's so disappointing. Somebody that I feel was so smart and probably intelligent and nice. Collingwood supporter. Wow.
I'm sure you'll get over it, Murph. I'm a loyal person. And that's all your news for now. I'll be back later on with updates. Thank you for joining us. Good night.